people like me. You need people like me so you can point your f***ing fingers and say, that's the bad guy. 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 That's the bad guy.
De la noche, Piñeiro.
Welcome to the motherfucking relay. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this weekend on the island of Puerto Rico. WBA interim welterweight champion, unbeaten Stephanie Piñeiro, will defend her title against the seasoned veteran and former champion of Argentina, Anaí Esther Sanchez.
El momento de la verdad.
Translated from Spanish to English, the moment of truth. Stephanie Piñeiro sports an unblemished record of 9 wins with no losses and no draws. 3 recorded knockouts to Anaí Esther Sanchez, who sports a professional record of 26 wins with 6 losses, no draws, 13 knockouts, having been knocked out once in 32 professional bouts. She's durable, and she's been in there with some of the best. Katie Taylor, Chantel Cameron, Sandy Ryan, Jessica McCaskill, Maiva Hamadouche, Eva Wallstrom. She's going to be in there with unbeaten Stephanie Piñeiro this weekend. Stephanie is a southpaw to Anaí Esther Sanchez, who is an orthodox fighter. Stephanie is 35 years old, if you can believe that. She really doesn't look it to Anaí Esther Sanchez, who's a year younger at 34. Anaí looks the older of the two. Last in action in May of this year, opposite the ring, Aldana Pons, who Anaí decisioned over 10 rounds, currently on a 5-fight winning streak after having dropped a decision to Sandy Ryan 3 years ago in 2022. Anaí is back in the winner's bracket and on a 5-fight winning streak. Will she be able to extend it to 6?
No.
This weekend?
No.
No, I don't think so. Anaí Esther Sanchez is the smaller fighter of the two, the shorter fighter, the stumpier fighter, whereas Stephanie has some height and some length and some mobility. I anticipate Anaí will be the aggressor in this fight. Stephanie will be the defender, on her toes, moving around and boxing her up. Stephanie's actually a very big puncher. I've seen her hurt girls. She knocked out Marie-Pierre Huel in her last fight in the second round of a contest scheduled for 10. Is she gonna knock out Anaí? I'm not sure. Anaí's a very durable fighter who's been around a long time, a veteran of 32, going on 33 professional bouts. Stephanie will beat her. At minimum, I trust Stephanie to win a points decision, but I don't know that she knocks her out. Beyond this, remember, this is for the WBA interim title at welterweight. That essentially means the winner of the fight is in line to fight Lauren Price. Lauren, this division's only unified champion, who's only seen action once this entire calendar year. It's funny.
What is?
Lauren is the one with the big-time promotional outfit. She's the one that was on a big-time platform, but she's the one that's only seen action once this year. Whereas for Stephanie, this will be her second fight of this calendar year. It's ironic that it's the fighter with the small, local promotional outfit that will have seen action more times this year. The irony. Stephanie wins the fight, and I think she's going to, if she stays the course, a fight between her and Lauren would seem to be an eventuality. That's what that interim title is, a segue to fight for the full one. Think Stephanie's a threat to Lauren? Stephanie's a good boxer in her own right, and a big puncher, though noticeably slower than Lauren Price. That's a problem. Shakier engine as well. I've seen Stephanie Piñeiro gas out in fights that she was winning more than once. That's a problem. In terms of the quality of competition, it's not even close. Lauren, in just a few professional bouts, has been in there with better girls than Stephanie Piñeiro. So experience goes to Lauren, speed, agility, and cardio. All that goes to Lauren. Maybe Stephanie is a bigger puncher than Lauren Price. Maybe she is, but she's got so much working against her, I don't really think it's going to matter. And Lauren is so fast on her feet, I'd be surprised if Stephanie could lay a glove on her. So Stephanie's a good fighter in her own right. And maybe if she didn't have to deal with Lauren to get a belt, she could get one. Maybe she could become a full champion. But against Lauren Price, I would give Lauren the edge. If and when the time comes, presumably next year. I would go with Lauren to win the fight, though, this weekend. In her own fight with Anaí Esther Sanchez, I anticipate Stephanie is going to win, likely on points, and keep the WBA interim title and her O intact. In men's super lightweight news earlier today, it was revealed that Subriel Matias delivered an adverse analytical finding for the performance-enhancing drug Osterin in a VADA test. Sources tell Ring's Mike Kopinger. So as you can imagine, the WBC junior welterweight title defense against Dalton Smith early next year in New York is now in jeopardy. Matias has 10 days to request the testing of the B sample, and given what his promoters spent to win the rights for this fight, $1.9 million. Holy fuck. I'm still wondering how a small local promotional outfit based out of Puerto Rico with no network deal could conjure up that kind of money. But however they did it, in all likelihood, it's a complete wash now. This fight, ladies and gentlemen, is not likely to go ahead. Osterin is the same substance that Amir Khan tested positive for after the Brook fight, and the same substance that Ryan Garcia tested positive for in the Haney fight. If history is any indicator of things to come, Subriel is about to get banned, and he's about to get stripped. Depending on what banned substance you test positive for, sometimes that can tell the story. I remember when Oscar Valdez tested positive for clomiphene. Ahead of the Robson Conceição fight, he was neither banned or stripped of his title for it. Whereas with Osterin, what we've seen. You know that 10 years out of Alexander Povetkin's existing record were scrubbed as a result of him testing positive for Osterin in 2014. And the aforementioned fighters, Amir Khan, Ryan Garcia, when they tested positive for Osterin, they were issued bans too. So, in all likelihood, unless Subriel has got some lofty explanation for all of this fight is about to get called off, he's about to get stripped, and he's about to get suspended. Why did Fresh Productions contract VADA testing in the first place? Why waste the money just to get your own fighter caught in the act? Well, the WBC likely required them to contract VADA testing for the fight on the premise of their clean boxing program. Well, there wasn't no VADA testing in the first William Zepeda versus Tevin Farmer fight that Golden Boy promoted. Well, I'm just bouncing ideas around, but maybe getting the WBC to look the other way required more brown paper bag money than Fresh Productions had at the time. So now is it possible that Dalton Smith, without having to throw a punch, will be elevated to full WBC champion on the premise that Subriel is about to get stripped? Not necessarily. Even though Dalton Smith is ranked at number 1 via the World Boxing Council's ranked standings, he's not the interim champion. Isaac Cruz of Mexico is the interim champion. We all know the World Boxing Council is a lot more partial towards Mexican fighters, them being a Mexican-based organization, than they are with anybody else. Bottom line, in between now and the time that Isaac and Lamont Roach enter the ring, that fight could be elevated to a full WBC title fight where the winner becomes full WBC champion. And Dalton, they fucked him. Dalton could be left out in the cold, waiting for the winner of that fight, waiting for the WBC to order it. That's what could happen. Do you trust the WBC to give Dalton Smith the belt? Who do you think they're likelier to give the belt to? Dalton Smith, a Brit, or Isaac Cruz of Mexico? And Subriel Matias will likely be issued a year ban, reduced down to 6 months, so long as he complies with an anti-doping protocol. He would theoretically return at some point, say late May or early June. That's how it usually goes. They give you a year, then cut it in half if you play ball. You're saying Isaac Cruz is about to be elevated to full WBC champion. It's a distinct possibility.
PBC, you guys are nasty and disgusting for the $75 Lamont Sanat Roach Pitbull.
Crazy.
And y'all, and respectfully, y'all saying it's reasonable prices. You know the government was shut down. You know niggas is on EBT. You know niggas just got done paying rent around December 6th. You know the holidays is coming up. A lot just because you niggas is rich and y'all got y'all money, other niggas ain't in them same circumstances. Pay-per-view's a disgusting model.
Further indication that Americans are suffering from pay-per-view fatigue. Understand there's a pay-per-view this weekend, another one next month, and another one towards the end, totaling $195 if you were to try to purchase all three during the holiday season. Ahead of Thanksgiving and ahead of Christmas, the people in boxing are expecting you to kick out $195 to watch those three cards.
A bit much, don't you think?
I was a little bit surprised to hear the people at the Boxing Voice complaining about this one, this Cruz versus Lamont Roach pay-per-view, because I actually think that card in its entirety is pay-per-view worthy. I am gonna buy it. I think it's one of the better cards the PBC has put on, though when talking about the PBC, remember that the bar is exceptionally low. Overall, it's what I've been telling you. Americans are not likely to purchase the vast majority of these box office fights. The inventor, friend of the channel. It was just the other day I said that Zuffa Boxing may be able to get a leg up on the competition because their brand of boxing will be more affordable than what you're getting on DAZN and what you're getting on Amazon Prime. To that, the inventor said, people will always gravitate towards the elite version of whatever thing they enjoy. You don't watch club football without watching the World Cup. You don't watch a regional golf tournament without watching the Masters or the Open. You watch the lower stuff because it's a feeder to the bigger stuff. Well, do those other sports cost as much to watch as boxing does? You get to experience the journey and calculate if that young fighter has got what it takes. I'm still not 100% sure what Zuffa's showing, but it sounds like MTV's bum fights. It's their target audience, regular Paramount customers or old DAZN subs. If it's serious boxing fans, they're not competing with DAZN. Eddie's non-pay-per-view schedule has already made them very competitive, and you can't buy any additional pay-per-views without a DAZN subscription. Well, listen, Inventor. Even if me and you think that Matchroom's recent additions to the schedule make them competitive, not everybody feels the same way. There are a lot of people that are not fans of Matchroom. The card that's happening in Ghana, the other ones that are happening in the UK, the ones set to go down in Australia, as xenophobic as Americans are, do you think the Americans are excited about those fights? Another aspect of Zuffa's approach is they're going to be centered around Americans and American audience, whereas a lot of American boxing fans don't seem to care about the international boxing scene, boxing on a global scale. Now, you can argue that people gravitate towards the elite version of whatever thing they watch, but with boxing, who's to say they're going to pay for it? Yeah, they'll watch it, the elite stuff, on illegal streams, and they may be able to take in Zuffa's cards via their Paramount subscription, because Paramount has 79 million subscribers. Being subscribed to Paramount Plus costs a lot less than being subscribed to DAZN, and it costs a lot less than purchasing pay-per-views via the PBC on Amazon Prime. Pricing is one way that Zuffa can get a leg up on the competition, because that stuff's so affordable, you don't have to steal it. You don't need to go to an illegal streaming site to see it. So when I hear the guys over at the Boxing Voice complaining about the Lamont Roach versus Cruz pay-per-view, that's what it reminds me of. The vast majority of American boxing fans are experiencing pay-per-view fatigue, and they want something more affordable. Enter Zuffa Boxing. We'll see how they make out. Speaking of pay-per-views, and ahead of this weekend's fight, Boxing Insider Rick Lacier says David Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde is a fight that, on paper, looks like a Benavidez win. But Benavidez, I'm told by boxing minds on the ground in Riyadh, is having serious trouble making the light heavyweight limit. And Yarde looks ripped, plus is experienced in big fights. I have no confidence in Tunde Ayahi, Yarde's trainer and manager, to lead a championship corner in a major fight. Yarde can punch, and if Benavidez is weakened, an upset is possible. Despite Yarde's inept trainer, this fight literally depends on the rehydration ability of Benavidez.
David Benavidez.
I noticed it myself a few days ago when I was watching Fight Hub, how sunken in David's eyes are, how pronounced his cheekbones are, but how gray and lethargic he looks. This is only his third fight as a light heavyweight, ladies and gentlemen, and already questions are arising as to how well he can make the weight. For a perspective to the left, this is how David walks around in between fights, and to the right, this is how he looks ahead of a fight.
Telling me he doesn't look a bit drained? Bit drawn?
It's the kind of thing that catches up eventually. I remember Jarrett Hurd, who was always very big for a junior middleweight. I, for the life of me, couldn't understand how this guy walks around at what looks like 200 plus, but boils down to 154, up until he fights Julian Williams, who he was widely favored to beat, and he got beat. He got mowed down. Out of the clear blue sky, his punch resistance was gone. A normally durable fighter with a hell of an engine couldn't hold a shot.
Shit.
Could that happen to David Benavidez this weekend? That is the possibility that Rick Glacier is entertaining. The byproduct of cutting too much weight to make a weight is your punch resistance goes.
There's been no assurance for the past 3 years, especially I was number one trying to fight Canelo. I was number one my last fight to fight Bivol. So there's no assurances. I take every fight, every performance, one fight at a time. You know what I mean? So my mind is 100% focused on Anthony Yarde, and whatever comes next, comes next. What better be if in Bivol, the timing is just wrong for them. Bivol just had a back surgery. Then Beterbiev wants to get the rematch with him. So, I can understand that. I wouldn't say they're scared of me, but I would say Canelo's scared of me 100%.
Yeah, but talking about them, you don't get as many articles written about you. You don't get as many interviews just talking about them. You have to talk about Canelo, even though the fight is not likely to happen and you're not at the same weight, even though you're about to fight somebody else as a segue to somebody else. You still talk about Canelo.
He says that the timing is not right for them being Artur Beterbiev, them being Dmitry Bivol, because Dmitry had back surgery and Artur is getting on in age. But is the timing right for David? Look at him. Look at how dry he looks. Just 3 fights into his light heavyweight campaign.
Of course, he may be looking at Artur's advanced age as a handicap, but your ability to make this weight is just as much a handicap. Maybe he's looking at Bivol's back surgery as a handicap.
A hindrance.
But you versus the scale is just as much a hindrance. Once your punch resistance starts to go from depleting your body repeatedly, it's not something you can get back, not even by moving up in weight, as was evident in the case of Jarrett Hurd, who I mentioned earlier. Eventually, Jarrett did move up from 154 up to 160, but by then, he was damaged goods. Any little nothing punch, any halfway solid shot gets in, he's seeing the lights.
And why was it that Roy Jones Jr., right after the John Ruiz fight, after he moved down, why was it that his punch resistance and reflexes went? Going back to a weight that was seemingly a more natural weight for him, it's because depleting your body, you could end up losing something that you don't get back. Once your punch resistance goes, it's gone.
David didn't all of a sudden start cutting a lot of weight. That's what he was doing at 168. That's what he's still doing at 175, just based on
where he walks around.
It's not an ominous forecast for no reason. This is the kind of thing that sneaks up on fighters. Could it sneak up on David this weekend? We'll see.